Hello everybody, my name's Anton. Welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich Russia. Let's continue on from where we last left off. So, apparently manpower is a bit of an issue. We're down to 50,000, which is really bad. We need to get ourselves up to, limited conscription, or even up to extensive ASAP. We need more troops. We're currently just fighting a war against Central Asia, and I would say things in Hungary are going like not okay, but I mean they could be going worse. So that's kind of okay in another way. So we have some dogs available. What bonuses are you guys? It doesn't actually really say. I mean it's any basically. Okay. So you know what? So we need more resources. Okay. So doctrines. Let's go for. Let's just go Superior Firepower. I think it's a classic. Follow that up with a little bit more air support. That sounds great. For our resource, I mean, how many factories do we have? Okay, we have factories back. We only have 53 steel. What's our economy at? Export focus. We export all of it. Is it? Oh wait, no, it's because of Germany, right? The pieces of shit. I hate them so much. Resource to market plus 50%. Yeah, we need to get rid of Germany. Some people were saying in the comments, like, we should just default on the debt. And you know what? I think I'm going to agree with you. So we're just going to default on German debt. It's going to cost us 15% stability, which is a lot. Don't get it wrong here. Like, that is a pretty substantial amount, but I think it should be okay. You're 85, 80%. Again, we want to kill the Carlists. Some people are saying that the Carlists could join Russia if they go national populist. I don't think that's true, because then they only have to join the Entente tree. And I personally have never seen them join the Russian faction. Like, maybe after the Second Weltkrieg, they're able to, like, abandon the Entente, but I don't think that's even true either. Okay, we can send some troops to go into this position. Fantastic. How are the Carlists are doing okay. The King of Spain will collapse soon. And I want to take Burgos, because that should be a pretty big dent for the Carlist. By the way, are you cores? It is, okay. So if they annex more territory, it will be harder for us when the kingdom actually falls. King governments declare wars. That's wars in China. Again, not really our top priority here. Kazakhs in crisis. Already, tens of thousands of Kazakhs have been displaced from their traditional farmlands by the Cossacks and Russian settlers. And without having the means to feed themselves, have been reportedly resorting to banditry. Clashes with the Cossacks and the government forces throughout Semiplastik have been reported, with no end in sight. Local authorities have called on the Russian government to send assistance. The Lech Party has called on the government to instead help the displaced Cossacks, many of whom are facing violence and even starvation. The plight has begun to draw the attention of the Russian public, with opposition leaders criticizing the government for continuing a policy of colonization, which only led to increased suffering. Popular aim goes up by 1. All goodwill of the Cossacks will be lost. Or have them. You know what? I'm fine with. Give it time. It'll work itself out. I don't want popular anger to go up. And also, I want to make sure we at least have some goodwill with somebody. So I want somebody to like me. How are you guys up in the north doing? I'd say fairly okay. I'm going to see if you can. I want to like push into you, but even then, I don't know if that's actually going to work. The first goal. Preemptive war. Again, that's 75% world tension. Organized Russophile groups, like anti-Germanism. I mean, fifth columnist, I think, would be nice. We cannot take any of these yet. We can improve logistics. I mean, that'd be nice. So, let's get our way to the fifth columnist to try to bolster anti-German sentiment in Eastern Europe. Baldiev in Berlin. General Vasily Baldiev is a complicated figure, considered a principal defender of democracy by some, and a power-hungry traitor by others. Unusually for a high-ranking Russian official, Baldiev was and remains an open and defiant liberal. His outspokenness drew many like-minded soldiers into his orbit, coalescing into a clique whose patience for Russia's growing radicalism finally broke on New Year's Day in 1929. The Baldiev push did force the government's hand in suppressing radicalism, but only after a revolt was crushed and supporters forced into exile. Baldiev himself was spent time in Ukraine and America. He founded the Committee for a Free Russia in 1935 in Ukraine, and has collaborated with anti-government resistant groups. But now our spies in Russia, dissident communities in Berlin, have told us about an early discreet recruitment for Army of Free Russia, likely a collaborationist group under the German protection. The threat of this united Russian rebel movement under Bodia prestige military skill, backed by German arms, cannot be ignored entirely. Klepnikov has already assured that the best assassins are being picked, but it is unlikely that Bodiev is caught. He will invade all of our attempts on his life thus far. Still, we should prepare for the face of the collaborators in the coming war. Bodiev's Free Russian army will be formed by Germany when the war starts. They will start as a hostile government exile in a state of civil war with us. And I'm assuming that, like, the more German resentment and the more public resentment there is towards the government, the more powerful they will become. I think that just makes sense. And the circle of Eurasianist ideocrats. There we go. Among Petrograd's intelligentsia, the SRS is dominated by Professor Peter Vashlis and Prince Dmitry Sovanik Mirkli's Eurasian Circle, which has been publicized in the theory of Eurasianism for a decade now. They joined the SZRS in the 1930s, as they believed that Boris Savinkov's vision would best adhere to Savitsky's ideocratic Eurasianism. And Savinkov, in turn, gave patronage to the intelligent movement he saw as purifying element against the liberalism and socialism that was plaguing Russian society. The group was split, with N. Alexandrov's conservative Eurasianists in 1927, and has since embraced Zavsky's ideocratic concepts more thoroughly. They support a total insubordination of Eurasian nation to a foundational idea, personified by the Vods and other Knights of Terror. The autocrat seeks a total state control comprised of East Slavic and Turanic elements, united by cultural historical ties. They admire the rule of Genghis Khan, and see an unshackled expansion of Russian geography defined purpose. The core doctrine of Zansky's Eurasianism is the concept of living space. Mestjo dia Rozlivsia, fuck that one up, geographical conditions which define the peoples living within them. People who live in the same biome or geographic area form a common civilization and have a natural desire to unite. Russia, in their view, forms the core of a steppe civilization, which encompasses all people of Eastern Europe and Central Asia. Eurasianists ascribe them to a collective kinship and call for them to unite with Russian rule. Vodsky declared that the Grand Duchy of Moscow, and therefore Russia, is the successor of the Mongol Empire, and that Genghis Khan was a hero of the Russian people. This Russia-Eurasian needs to embody the idea and beliefs which Eurasianists believe are Eurasian: selflessness, heroism, social hierarchy, and obedience. Eurasians believe that democracy is a form of governance for sea people, and is completely unfitting for Russia. Not only should Russia fight against democracy being imposed upon it, but also liberate our non-European nations from Western rule and defeat what they perceive as Western cultural imperialism. Professor Savitsky has nearly grown a cult following among SRS's intellectuals, and has grown to be an influential voice and expert in geopolitics within the party. So, or support, or one... you know what? I'll take the negative 1%. At least right now. Budapest is still looking okay. Again, our main task right now in Hungary is just to maximize casualties. We want as many dead Austrian, Czech, Slovak, Galician, Illyrian, Hungarian, just as many dead people as we can get. That's really what we're looking for here. Because... What are you doing here? Are you going to be okay? You might get pushed back a little bit. That's fine. Because what I want to do is just have as many... The less manpower for Austria, the better. German sanctions hit the forest sector. Some of the main exports of Russia to Middle Europa are paper and lumber. For exports, Germany's put an embargo in place on the forestry sector. -7% stability. I mean, that's not great. I mean, me and Germany are in a pretty big economics war right now. Right, with Hyderabad's gone down because again we don't have factories to trade anymore. Hey, we're not even building anything. Holy. Lack of resources -100%. Okay. We need to solve this problem immediately. Let's trade with... I have no factories to trade with. Oh, God. German sanctions. Again, at 10, we have 70 days till we can default on the debt. Okay, our industry is hurting significantly. I'm not going to deny that. Rubber has been... we're not trading rubber anymore, unfortunately. going to send this tank up a little bit further. Where's our aircraft? He's still in the south, and they'll fly over eastern Siberia. And by Siberia, I mean Iberia. Improve logistics to Turkestan. I mean, for what's 4% consumer goods when we're already having literally no civilian economy? Okay, let's take Burgos. And the reason for taking Burgos is that this will lead to... Yes, waning. So they're going to get some penalties now, which is great. The Ozdovite movement. A story from a minor newspaper is broken into national consciousness. Nikifor Alevich Ishtiov, a humble peasant son who's found work through the oral mining artel, has broken the world record in the most coal extracted, hitting almost 600 tons in 6 hours. The mine has already been known for efficient work methods and has consistently fulfilled its planned goal by hundreds of percent. When interviewing by Zvoda, Ishtov said that any miner could achieve the same. His secrets are merely rational techniques and a good organized work. I try to organize my working day, and I'll waste time, which is precious to both me and for the state, he explained. His achievements have quickly caught the eye for the propaganda machine, making Istov into a symbol for all of what Russian workers should be about. Cash rewards, benefits, and medals are for setting new production methods are being established, and schools that teach the Ozdovite method of work rationalization are already being formed throughout the country. Resource gain 5%. Political power goes down a little bit. Yes. And that's actually for like 3 years. So that's pretty good. And what decision do we have right now? End the program. We've completed 7. We get 67,000 manpower back. I don't think there's a reason to end the program. Honestly, I think we might as well just finish all of them. Because, I mean, we get bonus factories. I mean, again, if we get the manpower back in the end anyways, we should be okay. Okay, Bilbao's up in the north. Here we're 10. Germans demand compensation. Thing is, okay, we know the sanctions can actually be really bad. I'll give them 1 point here. Okay, we got more troops trying to push in. Let's see if we can kind of counter against you. You should be okay. I'm not too worried about the tank either. Maybe if they put a little bit more pressure like this, it'll be a little worse. What else do we have? Again, I want the 5th columnist for sure. A research slot could be okay as well. Army commissars will cause an event that may increase military anger. Base support. We get a free technology. 20% recruit population actually would be quite nice. Remove death to the Republic. Okay, we actually do want to get that done. Yes, we need to declare ourselves to be the Russian state. Let's make our way over there as quickly as possible. The first goal. After nearly 2 decades of humiliation of Russia, we will soon be ready to end the German hegemony. War is inevitable, and it's a matter of time when it will start. The main question is who will get the upper hand by attacking the opposing side. The Svatka already started drawing up plans for Operation Yerkaninia back in 1934, on the orders of President Savinkov, and they continue preparing them under Anton Denikin's direction. A number of possible plans have been presented to Boris Savinkov for final approval, but first we must figure out specifics, the most pressing of which is the initial target for the strike. General Slashyov, one of the supports for General Field Marshal Markov and other black epaulets, they're striking deep into Ukraine, which has formidable armed forces. But one factor makes it an attractive target. It's geography. Our armored and cavalry can outmaneuver the enemy in the plains of eastern Ukraine in a great battle of encirclement. And if the plan succeeds, then we will be able to threaten Kiev and link up with potential allies in the Balkans. Generals close to Denikin, such as General Golov, just a more direct approach. A heavy strike in the White Ruthenia. The Dnieper-Dugava line may be difficult to one to break, and advocates for the plan acknowledge, but we will gain the upper hand and the benefits will be incredible, and we can quickly press in German proper, while cutting German forces into 2 separate fronts. Once Minsk falls, we'll be able to threaten Ukraine and the Baltics from the west and east, and secure our flanks throughout, or thoroughly. Finally, there's the Baltic option. General Kutubov and Admiral Alexander Kolchak argue that the incursion into the Baltics will give us greater control over the Baltic Sea, allowing us to threaten German heartland more quickly and prevent Petrograd from any German incursion. We get bonus attacks on these lovely gentlemen. I think we want to push in Ukraine first. I think that's my main target. Okay, our troops are falling back, which is great. We're going to create a small front line like so. Again, Hungary is screwed. Like, they're not going to win. Like, that's just obvious. Outdated. I do want to build... Let's build the better trains. Again, we're literally not building anything right now. Like, which is bad. I need more resource extraction, maybe. So let's get our way... I'm here 39. Let's go 38 research. We're gonna get another tech in just a moment anyways. Oh my god, there's so many events. Stack technology. We have some bonuses here. So you know what? Let's go for the PPD-2. Get that researched. And Slonovic and the Stabs Captain movement. A bodybuilder, a martial arts master, a journalist, and a writer. Ivan Slonovic's career has been a curious one, and he can be justly said to be one of the most famous conservative thinkers of the new generation. In the 1920s, while working as head of physics education in Petrograd, he founded the People's Imperial Stabs Captain movement, explaining that a Stabs Captain, or Staff Captain, is someone who runs a unit while the commander is away. The commander obviously referring to the Tsar. The Stabs Captain movement is primarily focused on physical training. They organize sport events, spread information about healthy lifestyles and the evils of alcohol, and run weightlifting and boxing competitions. But also they serve as an ideological movement, one whose members are encouraged to read Slonovic's writing and proclaim people's monarchism. Thanks to the tireless work of the four Slonovic brothers, the movement has spread from Petrograd to Moscow, Novgorod, Smolensk, and many other cities. Slonovic has refused to integrate his movement into the SRS's All-Russian League of Sports, claiming that his movement is already sufficiently patriotic and does not need political oversight by the Sovniks. He has refused close cooperation with the party multiple times, even if he has admitted that he supports many of Savinkov's policies, chiefly his land reforms and stricter lines against socialism. That's fine. I'm not worried about more social conservatism. And a legacy of the North Volunteer Army. Memories of the heroes who volunteered to save Russia during the Civil War have lived on in countless ways, from veterans organizations to inherited uniforms and symbols. The red and black uniforms of the Kordovites are just one example. The tradition of Markovites, Droznovites, Alexandrivites are alive and well, shown in their uniforms and parades and with their own insignia on dress uniforms. But under Savinkov's regime, or reign, one uniform has become like no other. The so-called Savinkarian or Goropian uniform was designed by only very late into the war, when various white armies started to design their own uniforms, inspired by the original four. The Savinkovsky uniform is based on the green and black uniform, with red and gold skull epithets on their Siberian shock regiments, fitted to the green hell for the Northern Volunteer Army march through. Excellent. Okay, give me 1% more stability. By stability, I mean party popularity. We are so fucking broke, man. I hate Germany. Okay, strategy of the Western March. The Russian Army's offensive is in spirit and will, but the methodology of the offensive can vary. The Russian Army is a mechanization lobby. Markov, Slashnikov, Rozhkovyov, Mezhnir, and others see surgical armored thrust in the obvious core of the offensive. Okay. Our mobile and air forces must be concentrated into a single force of unstoppable shock, capable of piercing through the enemy front to destroy the German armies in great battles of encirclement. However, this method we have no practical experience in. More careful planners such as Denikin, Kaznin, and Goliv represent an opposing view, which seeks a Novoserbian approach. Yes, armor is important, but only is one tool among many. The main focus on firepower and destruction of enemy forces are a steady engine of destruction, with trusted methods applied to modern arms. So we get bonus a speed and bonus attack for our tanks. Or I mean, I'm always a breakthrough guy. I like breakthrough. So let's just go with extreme firepower. I've got my troops encircled because I'm bad at the game, but we should be able to take this in just a moment. I want you to support this push. I don't know where the Carlists are going. It looks like they're going somewhere down south. At this point, it's kind of funny. We kind of need the Kingdom of Spain to last like a little bit longer. Also, I think we cut down on rifle productions a little bit. How many guns do we have? We're still missing 10,000. Excellent. Thing is, like, I guess we just build more tanks. It seems okay. Like, where's our aircraft? Maybe some. 90%. Gibraltar has collapsed. 72. The Dvinsk Autonomous Region. The Dvinsk autonomy was established in 1935 by President Savinkov's decree as proof that his Russia was not only for ethnic Russians, but for all peoples. Previously, an autonomous Gumeria, This upgrade into full autonomy was in practice a propaganda trick, meant to prove that the Latvians and Estonians on the other side of the border that free Latvia in free Russia was true. The Latgale region has been a flourishing of Latvian and Latgalian culture in the 1920s, but has nonetheless become a stronghold for the SRS, thanks to the Latvian Nationalist Union being Savikov's and Gorper's early ally. The local Duma, called the LCP, was the first legislative body in Russia to cooperate with the SRS already in 1928. Savikov's old colleague, Frederick Berdis, was elected as Commissar of Dvinsk early, and has since then become essentially a dictator of the autonomy. A small party state within Russia. Berdis' regime shows a national zeal that will one day free all of Latvia. I want to see if we can take the city. We're at 96, 97. Okay, unrest in the Amir Urisi Cossacks. Ataman Gregory Semyonov left Russia for Harbin in 1922, rather than answer for the crimes of his warlord regime during the Civil War. Still, he is regarded as a folk hero by many Cossacks in the East, particularly by bitter former Transbaki or Urisi Cossacks, who were resettled into the Amir host after the Civil War. Unlike Cossacks in the West, the ones in Amir are hardly elite, but nothing but middle-class military peasants of the unforgiving border region. The SRS has found some support among the Amur Cossacks, but there has been little practical effort in improving the situation at the border, all while land reforms have been favoring non-Cossacks. In fact, the movement to reclaim the flags of Old Russia and Transbiaka host has sprung up in the distant Cossack villages. The longtime ataman of the Amir host, Ivan Mikhailovich Gamov, has reigned silent in the affairs of his own host. Okay, in the future, we'll be able to assassinate Smenyov. Having national spirit, the Department of State Security will improve the chance of successful assassination. Lose 10,000 manpower. We already have 0 and 1,000 guns, which we already don't have. This option thanks to your recent security apparatus. I mean, again, like, this isn't actually, like, how Hoi4 works. If I press this button, it doesn't go, like, negative 11,000, right? Yeah, so you just click that button. That's a little secret from me to you. But I will say, at least right now, it's going to be a good time for this end of this episode. So if you enjoyed, thumbs up. Then not enjoying, you can always thumbs down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.